Hi guys, we're back. How are you, Harry?
Doing good.
Good, good. Well, guys, we haven't got a presentation for you this week, but we've got quite a bit to talk about, Harry, haven't we?
Yeah, we have been discussing quite a few things.
Yeah, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna share the screen because this is something that came up um, after we did last week's presentation. We were talking about the ouroboros. I was watching Paul from he used to be the Black Sheep researcher. Now I think he's called What the Flock TV, and he was talking about why do humans have a tailbone? And of course, the depiction on the left is a drawing of an embryo, a human embryo, and he connected it to the ouroboros, which kind of blew me away a little bit because we hadn't made that connection when we did our ouroboros presentation, did we, Harry?
No, but yeah, this picture side by side, it really makes that connection pretty obvious.
Mm, yeah. So I just thought that was interesting. I just wanted to share that. Oh, here we go. Why does my camera keep doing this? No idea. Um. Anyway, I was listening to or watching Brian yesterday, Brian Staveley, and he was over on Rockfin being interviewed. And for those who know Brian, I mean Brian's one of the main Mandela effect guys, and I'm hugely Mandela affected. That was the beginning of my, I hate to use that phrase, but waking up. Anyway, he was talking about the letter A in the Kia logo, the car maker Kia, and
Yeah.
also Samsung had changed from an A to being an upside down V, which I think is a lambda in Greek, isn't it, Harry? Anyway, I happen to have a Samsung phone, right? Now, this Samsung phone I bought in 2013. So it was long before the Mandela effect. And I always know that when I turn it on, that the word Samsung kind of appears across the screen, and the A is a V. But I think you can see right at the top there, you have got the name Samsung, right? Actually on the top of the screen. And when he was talking about the Samsung letter A changing, this phone shit itself, right? I had to buy a new one a couple of months ago, but it's sitting here, and I picked it up, and I thought, oh, I've got some residue because the Samsung name right at the top was an A, and I thought, great. And as I'm looking at it, it changed. The little bar across the center of the A just faded away to nothing. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the fuck? What just happened? Guys, I am not bullshitting you. I'm not lying to you. I actually thought, cool, I've got some residue. I've got the Samsung with the real A. And as I was looking at it and going, oh, cool, it changed right in
And
front of
and,
my
and, I,
eyes.
and I can attest to everyone that when we talked about this, it was early in the day, so he hadn't been drinking.
No, I mean, it was what, 10 o'clock in the morning, my time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was yesterday. That was yesterday. And it's changed. It's an upside down V. Um, and it's weird because when I got up this morning and I opened up to see what was going on, there's a few people on YouTube talking about the multi-dimensional um, and the simulation theory, the fact that we live in a simulation and there's two dimensions. Well, what did I witness yesterday? That A morphed from the A with the bar just faded away right under my nose. How do you
So
explain that, Harry?
well, I mean, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, and we talked how it can be compared to the double slit experiment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When you observe something, uh, it changes the outcome when you're not observing it. So
Yeah.
you having had the phone for the last what 8 years,
8 years. Yeah.
then you didn't pay attention to it, and so thus you didn't observe it. The minute you went to observe it, that anomaly, it disappeared right before your eyes.
Yeah, I didn't get chance yesterday. I was gonna have another look at that. You can find it on YouTube. It's kind of a cartoon um, animation on the double slit experiment. So yeah, it's weird, absolutely weird. I mean, and the other experiment that we should talk about, if anybody out there has got youngish kids, is the rice experiment. Have you ever done that, Harry?
I haven't, but I have the rice, and we're going to actually get some containers, and I'm going to have my children do that experiment
Yeah,
soon.
yeah. If you're not familiar with the rice experiment, what you do, guys, you get 3 identical containers. You boil up some rice, just normal white rice, and you split it between the 3 containers. Put a lid on it, put it in a cupboard, put it in a spare room, and on one container you write "I hate you," on another one you write "I love you," and on the other one you write "ignore," or you just don't write anything and just ignore it. And the reason that you do the ignore is because that's your yardstick. That's what you've got to compare the love and the hate. And what I did when I did it, because I first saw it around the time, or just after I woke up, um, back in 2017, and I saw it and I thought, nah, this is bullshit. So I tried it. But what I did, I put the 3 containers in a spare room in my apartment, and then probably twice a day, once in the morning before I went to work, and then again before, when I got home, I would go and I would pick up the whichever one, the love or the hate, and I would take it outside of the bedroom and close the door, right? Because I didn't want what I was doing to one container to affect the other container. Um, and you take the loved one and you kiss it and you tell I love you, you're wonderful, and you say all these sweet things to it, and you go and put it back. You bring out the hate one, close the door. Um, and you don't just sit there and or stand there and say I hate you. You've got to, I hate you. You're horrible. You piece of trash. You really got to give it the intonation. You've got to give it the feeling. Whoops, he's back. You've got to give it the feeling, the emotion, because that's what actually doesn't affect the rice. It's the water that the rice has absorbed that you're affecting. And what you find after a couple of weeks is that the ignore is just grey and just moldy. The love literally looks like you could eat it, right? It's pure white, it's perfect. But the hate is black, dark grey, black, and horrible. Um, and it's a great experiment, I think. I got my granddaughter. She was 11 at the time, and I told her, and she, I'm going to try that, granddad. And she did it, and she was blown away. And what kind of effect that can have on our kids as a learning experience when it comes to, my dad always brought me up, it's not what you say, Nigel, it's how you say it. And he's totally correct. So
So the effect is really on the water that the rice contains, right?
yeah, yeah,
So if we are 70% water and we're berating our family and we're showing disgust and animosity and all that, we're projecting that onto them. What are we doing? We're hurting them. Yeah, we're hurting them. So that whole saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. That is exactly 100% opposite of the truth.
Yeah, yeah, complete opposite, as you would expect in this inverted realm. Yeah, I think it was spawned by the Dr. Emoto, that Japanese guy that did the snowflakes and the water crystals and whatever. But I think it's a really, really powerful lesson for our kids, to understand. More important than us, you know what I mean? We unless of course it's a sheeple, you know, one of your friends or family, you could try it on, you could show it to, but it is pretty mind blowing. It is pretty mind blowing. Yeah. So that was those two things. There's the double slit experiment, the rice experiment. What was the other thing we were going to talk about, Harry?
I didn't write them down. I know we were talking about it for a while.
I didn't know that. Oh yeah, we were talking about the this was something that cropped up in one of our conversations. Do you remember the old biblical saying, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we, you know, in religion, they talk about the Son of God. We've talked about the Son being the Son. And then, you know, you if you look at the Son being the giver of life, without the Son, everything would die, right? But the Son can also take it. You're going to sit in the desert for a week without any water, and that Sun's gonna hurt you. You know, you're gonna die.
Yeah, it's gonna evaporate you. It's gonna turn you into vapor.
Yeah. So you've got this duality just with the Sun alone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This the giver of life, and also the taker away of life. Another thing that Brian was talking about yesterday, Harry, was that other Mandela effect, biblical Mandela effect, where two or more are gathered in my name. It's now where two or three are gathered in my name, and you've got something to show us with respect to that.
I do. About 25 years ago, maybe more like 30, a Greek priest brought me a book, and it's called the Concordant Greek Text.
Yeah, can see that.
And what they mean by that is it's the whole New Testament, but there's no gaps from page 1 all the way to the end. There's not one gap for one letter. Like, I'll show you page 1. Page 1 starts on this side, and it's nonstop, not a gap for even one word.
So it's just like one long word all the way through the book.
Yeah, because even the words themselves are joined together. If you look close.
Right, yeah.
And I did send you a picture. You can probably show that. But I did turn it to Matthew 18, verse 20. And, you know, this is a shot of the whole page, both pages, nonstop, all words, you know, all letters from start to finish. And in the screenshot that I sent you, I did highlight that this book is, like I said, it's over 30, almost 30 years old. And it has that, the Mandela affected change does say when 2 or 3 are gathered. So if you have that and you want to share that, you can show it.
You're not going to be able to see it very well, I don't think. I'll just give me a sec. I'll find it. Where are we?
But when we were having that conversation, I too, being in the church for 25 years, remember pastors always taught on that, and it was always 2 or more. But as we can see down there, you can see it says Dio y tres, and that means 2 or 3.
So how can that have changed in your 25, 30-year-old Greek Bible, unless it's some kind. I don't want to use the phrase divine intervention, but I broke down some of the Mandela effects, and looked at the deeper meaning in some of them. And I think that one of the most common was the Monopoly man losing his monocle.
Monocle.
Yeah. Well, what does that indicate? To me, that means open your eyes, look around you. Yeah. The removal of that monocle. And I connected that to the missing line from Silence of the Lambs. Apparently, Anthony Hopkins never said, "Hello, Clarice." Well, again, Clarice it removed, right? The Monopoly man's monocle removed. Clarice is clearly connected to the word clarity. Um, so again, and then there was another one, Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come, has changed to if you build it, he will come. Well, what do you build apart from a building? You build trust, you build confidence. He will come being a connection to the Christ consciousness, the return of the biblical return of the Christ is not a physical guy coming back. It's the awakening. It's the Christ consciousness. So again, if you build it, he will come. In my opinion, was referencing to that. What do you think?
What if I recall, the guy's name was Shoeless Joe, right? Shoeless Joe.
Something like that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why would you take your shoes off? Because of
Mm.
holy ground.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a good
I
catch.
it just came to my mind.
That's a good catch. Yeah. Um. So yeah, I say I broke down quite a few of the Mandela effects and to look at the deeper meaning. I couldn't break them all down. Like the one that affected me was the VW.
Yeah.
Um. And I don't know if I've told you this, guys, but my surname begins with a W. And when I was 11 years old and I started at secondary school in the UK, the guy that I was sat next to for 5 years, his name was Nige, but his surname began with a V, right? And, from the ages of 11 to, I don't know, 15, 14, 15, we were going to take over the world. We were going to have this company, and we adopted the VW logo, because his surname begins with a V and mine begins with a W. So we adopted it and we drew it on everything. We bastardized it in art lessons, and it was on all our textbooks and school books and everything. And then, I suddenly find out some 40 years later um, that there's always been a gap between the V and the W. I'm like, who are you trying to kid? And if anybody says or said to me that I was remembering wrong, what, for 5 years we were obsessed with the VW logo, me and my old schoolmate. Yeah, there was
Yeah.
never a gap between the V and the W. Absolutely freaked me out.
Yeah, and there's hundreds of others that know the same exact thing.
Yeah.
They've posted and made entire videos showing that the original VW didn't have a gap at all. It was all one one piece.
Yeah, the other one is the Ford logo, where the line through the F has now got a little pigtail on it. Well, my ex-father-in-law was so obsessed with Fords, he actually named one of his kids Ford. My ex-wife's younger brother his name was Ford. Um, so that's another guy that you're not gonna fall and say, oh, it's always had a pigtail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So some of these connections are very, very, very powerful, and they're very, very personal to some people. And there's two examples: myself with the VW and my ex-father-in-law with the Ford. You know what I mean? You try telling him that you got a bad memory, bro. It's always had a pigtail. I don't think
Well,
so.
Yeah, and we know that a lot of the car makers they always encode usually Saturn in all their logos, but these two logos in specifically, I think that they are kind of brought to the forefront because of uh, the dichotomy between the two during the world wars, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a good example. Um, Let me just see if I can find it. I thought I had it on the computer, but I don't. But we'll find it
And I, and
online.
I and I don't recall if we talked about this in our separate chats or if we've actually talked about this on a podcast. But the importance of Ford versus Volkswagen during that tumultuous time of war is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, yeah. I think John Lamlash um, a podcast on that. I think it was with Jeff. I don't think it was him on his own. I think he did it with
That's
with
yeah. I
Jeff
think you're
Darty.
right. I think
Um,
that's true.
and it was Jeff Darty that was interviewing Brian Staveley yesterday when they were talking about these Mandela effects. Oh, my camera's gone up again. I don't know why.
So that Jeff's got a new channel now because I know his was taken down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I forget what it's called. I mean, he doesn't talk to us anymore, does he?
No,
For some reason, I'm trying to start my camera. Here we go. Right. Let me
right.
see if this has come up yet. Yeah. Okay. I'll just choose one, and then I'll share the screen with you. It's the Alfa Romeo logo. That's, I mean, everybody's going to be familiar with it. Hang on, let me just share the screen. Sorry, guys.
That's the one with a lion on it, isn't it?
No, it's this one. It's the
Alfa
one
Romeo.
with the snake eating a human.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
and of
That's
course
right.
the cross, the Christian cross. I mean, why would a car manufacturer want to use a logo that shows a snake eating a human? I mean, it to me just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I think they're telling us right there.
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna eat. I'm gonna use you for my food.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely, it's hidden in plain sight, and it's always been there, but we've never picked up on it before because we've been too trusting. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Ever since,
maybe they're trying to tell us that that red thing is his a tongue or something like that.
yeah, who knows? Who knows? Um, but yeah, I mean, it's all been hidden in plain sight from day one. But because we have been too trusting, and because we wouldn't do some of these things that we're now finding out have been done, um, we find it difficult to believe or difficult to understand how or why somebody else would do that kind of thing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? If you
yeah,
wouldn't do it,
because yeah, we find it impossible for us to do it, so we would imagine no one else would.
yeah,
But that's not
yeah,
true because they're not like us. They're actually not human.
no, absolutely, absolutely correct. And again, people find that difficult to get their head around. Um, we're hoping to do a show with Michelle Gibson sometime within the next week or so. Um, and she is totally on board with the non-human thing. You know, they're non-human, but in a human form, which is pretty out there, don't you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, why they try to mimic us because they've tried to uh, they're counterfeits.
Yeah.
They can't create anything new. So what they do is they look at the best thing that they have available and they duplicate it because they got no creativity.
No, but you know they're mocking us as well. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And again, people can't see. I mean, look at Biden. I mean, come on. You know, the man can't even rub two sentences together. And he's supposed to be the president of the most powerful country in the world. I mean, it's
I
insane.
I just remembered the screenshot that conspiracy music guru put up today,
Oh, okay.
and I haven't found it. I'm going to look for it, but it said President Biden is more confused than Michelle Obama's gynecologist.
Oh, oh, I like that. I like that. That's a good
Yeah.
one, bro. That's a good one. Um, yeah, I like that. So when we, I know I've been in touch with Michelle. She's in the process of moving house, and I'm supposed to be going to another city for a few weeks because it's holiday time. Um, I've got a couple of things to do here first. So within the next week or so, hopefully, we can get together with Michelle, um, and because she kind of listens to our copy and paste um, idea, and she kind of agrees with me that it. Hang on, yeah, it answers all the questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it gives an answer to why we can't dig past a certain timeline and find true answers.
Yeah, yeah,
Because it's a cliff. I mean, once we get to that edge of that cliff, there's nothing there. That's the point of the copy. And then the guy who did the copy, he's going by and deleting things that he doesn't want us to see through the use of wartime and reconstruction and rewriting of history. So there's nowhere to stand.
no, no, and that's why these rabbit holes don't go anywhere. You know what I mean? The more rabbit holes you go down, the less you're going to find because the answers are not there unless you adopt the copy and paste idea that all the answers are in the original realm, but are not in this copy.
Yeah, and you're right. I was trying to put together something on uh, to expand on the soul and the sun being twins. And at one point, I was going to do a word study on all words that start with SOL, and it got to the point where it was just so convoluted that I kind of just put it to the side and started to do more of and I'm going to give you like a prequel of what or preview of what I'm going to do for our next presentation. I'm going to take a comparison and compare the sun and the moon, which are twins, with Jesus and Lucifer, which are twins, which Jesus' brother was Thomas, because we know that he had a twin brother and his name was the twin or Didymus. Didymos in Greek means twin. So I'm going to kind of just.
Actually, Didymus. In Chinese, Didi is your younger brother.
Yeah.
They
But
actually
in
have.
Greek,
They
in
actually.
Greek, Didymos means your twin.
Well, in Chinese, Didi is your younger brother. They actually, it's weird. They actually have a word for older brother, younger brother, older sister, younger sister. Gurga is your older brother, and Didi is your younger brother. Didymus. The other thing that we're going to.
One thing to remember, even though two people can be twins, one can be the older and one can be the younger because you don't come out at the same time.
That's right. That's right. And the other thing that we're going to talk about, guys, is the word male. Now, we accept we have male and we have female. Fe being iron, yeah, Fe being iron. Well, when you look at the word male, it's in the beginning of the word malevolent. Male in Latin is the opposite of good. Basically, Beni is good. Male is essentially bad, not necessarily evil, but bad. Which is why, when you get ill, you have a malady. Yeah. This is a little rabbit hole that I've only just started going down. I'm going to look at words that start with MAL, as in male, because again, you know, it's all they're pretty much all negative.
Like malicious.
Yeah. Well, there's another one, malicious. Yeah. They're all negative words, but you know, at least the ones that spring into mind are. So, what does that tell you? We are male, or we're told we're male, and essentially that's not good.
Maybe we're the bad half of the two-headed creature.
Yeah. Hey, can you just show everybody that two-headed photo again
Oh,
that you showed?
it's on my phone. It's on my phone, but yeah, I think some people have probably seen it.
See what you think of this, guys. I'm not sold on this. I think it's BS, but that's just a bit higher, bro. Right. That just doesn't look real. That doesn't look real. So you've got a guy who's got a face on the back of his head, and then you have that.
And there's a picture of him 20 years later,
Wow.
and he's older. Yeah.
What about that black and white one with the head?
Oh yeah.
The head above the head. See what you think of this
Yeah.
as well, guys. It looks like a hat. Looks like a weird hat. I mean, you know,
So
if these people are real, what kind of life must they have had in order to get to that age? I mean, we spoke about that when we did the podcast with the freaks and that, right?
yeah.
You know, you had that guy with no arms and no legs, clearly looked like 50 years old. I mean, you got to ask yourself, what kind of life would these guys have had? I mean, they wouldn't have been able to go anywhere. People would be scared of them. They wouldn't have been able to go to school. You know, they wouldn't be able to get a job if they were real.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these people, some of them are real. Like I told you, there's a guy from Australia, and his name escapes me right now, but he was born with no arms and no legs, just feet and stumps for hands. And he became an accountant, and he then became a speaker at churches across the world and wrote books. And he is a millionaire, supposedly.
I guess if he was in a swimming pool, you'd call him Bob.
Yeah. And some of the hardest things that he does are things that we take for granted, like brushing your teeth, just showering, things like that. But the bottom line is, it's really the person inside, not the exterior. Again, he got a defective car, and he still figured out how to get around.
Good on him. Good on him.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we've been pushing half an hour, so we'll wrap up here. Thanks for listening. Please comment below any ideas. You've both Harry's email and my email will be in the description below. So if there's anything that you want to send us, or anything that you want to let us know that you don't want to put in the comments or whatever, then just hit us up on the email. Anything you want to say to finish, bro?
No, I think like you said many times, when we have these conversations, we mind blow each other sometimes. We had an exchange a couple of nights ago where we were just blowing each other up with information. And so that's what we like about the input that the subs also comment on. So yeah, I encourage, if you want to send an email, if there's an idea that you maybe don't want others to see and you want to share it with us, some of the most outrageous ideas always bring on different ideas, and they bounce off of one person, and then it creates a whole understanding. So
well, what I often see as an outrageous idea, in the beginning, is not so outrageous at all. You know what I mean? We've proven that just with our little chats that we have on when we're not recording. You know what I mean? Somebody said this, and it connects with that, and then it connects with that, and before you know it, you've got a whole another piece of the jigsaw puzzle. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
we're all still learning. You know, none of us know it all. You know. All right,
Exactly.
guys. Well, we'll see you again in a few days. Thanks for being here. Much love. Take care.